Again, we're out here, and we just want to give all praises, glory, and honor to unto
Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash.
And we just want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone GMS that we do learn this truth from. And to you, we say shalom, and also shalom to the collect, and also shalom to you, Akim and Iwak, that are out there playing your role in the ministry of Yahushai and doing everything to the best of your ability. So, before we got started, brothers were talking about things that were going on in the news, things with Israel, things with the dollar, how these different countries, economies around the globe, they're actually moving away from the American dollar. So we're in the time of seeing the rejection of the American dollar. People don't like it anymore. These other nations are angry, pursuing to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter and the 51st chapter. Taking bomb for her pains, and the nations are angry and they're mad. But you're also seeing wars in Israel, right? There's a new war that just erupted between Lebanon and Israel, and with the Palestinians again bombing on the Gaza Strip. Maybe we should go into that. Isaiah the 2nd chapter, because if you are the true Jews, why is there still wars on the planet Earth? Right, and Isaiah the 2nd chapter covers that. When you go through verse 1 through 5, you start to see that. So if a brother could actually just pull that up real quick.
Isaiah 2, 1. Isaiah 2 and 1. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem.
So this is saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. So Judah who? Judah who? Judah is being the 3 tribes. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then you got Israel all the way from Simeon all the way down to Issachar here, right? So it encompasses the whole entire nation. That's who it's concerning, right?
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established at the top of the mountains.
That's right, and it's going to be, brother, could you get Isaiah chapter 9 and 6? Because we're going to be the top government once again, and that's going to happen through Yahushai. You see what happened to these so-called Jews when you go back to the Balfour Declaration that was created in 1917, and it went all the way down through 1947. That's how these Jews got the land back, through the British government and through the Rothschild family, right? So that was agreement between banking families and a Western country. And so that doesn't add up to biblical prophecy, because how it's supposed to play out is Yahushua is supposed to come back and deliver us, right? And exalt us.
I got it.
You have it? Okay.
Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given.
Okay, so who is that child and who is that son? That's talking about Yahushua, right? He's that son, the only begotten son. All things were created by him and for him. Going?
And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father.
So the government is going to be upon his shoulder. So he's going to hold up the kingdom, and he's going to bring up the kingdom. Keep going.
The Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end.
That's right. So it's going to be an everlasting kingdom, and it's going to be with peace. Right, so that's what's going to happen in the last days when Israel is established. It's going to be everlasting peace. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom. So these devils, they claim that they got the land back in 1948. They claim to be sovereign, but there's no peace on the earth. So does that add up to biblical prophecy? No, it doesn't.
Got a precept for you, brother.
All right.
Ezekiel 36 and 5. Therefore thus saith the Lord power Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen. So the residue of heathen, of course, is speaking first and foremost to the house of Esau Edom, but it's speaking to the chief house, which is Amalek. And against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek for Esau Edom, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for their prey. And that's just basically going to what the brother brought out as far as the Balfour Declaration. They went in and took over Palestine, which is really our land. So we have these 2 heathen fighting over our land, but it also speaks to America as well, because again, we brought that out last week, how the North American Indians, the West Indians and such, we are indigenous to this land, right? This land belongs to us. And Elder Apostle Tahar always speaks about this being Canaan 4, Canaan 4 in the Hebrew, Canaan 4. It also speaks to this as being our promised land, as our inheritance.
Zionist.
To back you up. This is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 7. And it reads, "Your country is desolate. Your cities are burnt with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence. And it is desolate and overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage, as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of the cucumbers, as a besieged city." Right, and that starts with the people first. Right, we're besieged. Right, we're basically, we look at the condition of Israel. Oh, we don't got the mic? Oh, that's right there. Oh, okay, it looks different. You can see it. We look at our condition as a people, right? We're like a wilderness, right? Which means we're lost. No direction, no path. And even when you go deeper, really we're rebellious. That's why that's why we're in the condition that we're in. Right? Our forefathers were rebellious, right? In turn, the whole nation became rebellious. Our kings were rebellious. Our priests were rebellious. We had no true judgment. Judgment was perverted, right? But now the Lord is establishing the elect, right? To bring back and perpetuate righteousness on the earth, starting with this word and then also starting with destruction. Okay? Verse 9, "Except the Lord Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been as Gomorrah." Right? So we understand those stories. You know what happens? They got destroyed. They got wiped out for a lot of sodomy, man. Wickedness. Because sodomy, the changing of the use of a man into the use of a woman, vice versa, pedophilia, all that is high level, high forms of witchcraft, man. Right? And the scriptures talk about how rebellion is the sin of witchcraft.
Should have got destroyed off the face of the earth. You know, the Lord, He didn't have to show us any mercy at all. You know, a lot of Israelites, they think that the Lord owes them something. You know, the Lord just chose to give you a pardon through His Son. Right? You know, a conditional discharge, so to speak. You understand that lingo when you go into law, right? But that's what this truth comes with. It's a conditional discharge. There's certain things you have to follow so you can, so your sins and your violations can be purged away. Right? So yes, this truth. You know, when you come into it, you have to follow the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability, and you have to go onto the highways and byways. You know, that's a given. Be instant in season and out of season. And you have some Israelites, they don't want to do any of those things. But then they want to get a pass. But in order for you to get the love of the Lord, you got to work for it.
That's right.
Right?
You gotta sing. You gotta dance and sing. Verse 10, and it reads, "Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Ye rulers of Sodom, give ear unto the law of our power, ye people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? Said the Lord Yahweh. I am full of burnt offerings of rams." And, which basically means the Lord is tired of them. So he said he's full of them, he's tired of them.
Well, the brother went into that perfectly because basically what he's saying is that his obedience is better than sacrifice. That's right. So you got to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. If you did that, would you have to sacrifice?
Yeah, it's like our people, man, they just go through the motions of things because it's just something to do. That's what a lot of Israelites get caught up in.
Right.
And that's what Yahushua came back to demonstrate. You know, it's not just about going through the motions, it's about your faith. You know, do you really believe in what you believe in?
Right. And dealing with the spirit as well, because this weekend, what did we go through? Yesterday was what? Good Friday, right? And then there's Easter Monday. When you do the math, it doesn't add up to 72 hours, right? So our people are constantly following these holidays, which we know are really holidays. But Esau came in and switched it all around, so now it's a holiday, and these are traditions that really celebrate the kingdom of Esau, Edom, and has nothing to do with the law, statutes, and commandments, or the high holy days as accentuated by our Heavenly Father.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, somebody get Psalms 51 around, I think the 14th. Look between the 12th and the 15th verse. It talks about what the Lord delights in sacrifice like this. Get that out real quick.
Yeah, I do.
I'll read on. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? Let me know when you guys got it. You got it? Okay, read it.
Okay, Psalms 51, verse 16, and it reads, For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in a burnt offering. The sacrifices of the Most High are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O power, thou wilt not despise.
Right. So that's what the Lord is looking for in these times right now. How about Shem Shai is looking for what? A contrite spirit and a broken heart.
Can you pull up the word contrite? Right.
And some of you might say, well, what do you mean by broken heart? It doesn't mean to walk around being sad willfully all day long. Although the scriptures say, he that increases in knowledge will increase in sorrow and grief. Right? But it's about being in a state of repentance.
That's right.
Observing the environment you're in, the wicked environment you're in, the wicked body you're in, and then observing the laws.
That's right.
Right? Because a sacrifice today, a burnt sacrifice today, would be going out and trying to do what these other camps are saying, where they say you got to keep the law, keep the law, keep the law. Right? Well, the Lord said, I don't desire in that. I desire in a contrite spirit and a broken heart. So it's about your mentality. And then your actions your actions will represent where your mind's at.
That's right.
You know? How you carry yourself, your conduct towards brothers, towards this truth, this ministry, this labor of love.
That's right.
That shows where your mind's at.
That's right, and it shows and proves the honor and the glory of the Heavenly Father too. Because
That's right.
in this day and time, there's no possible way that we can stand out here and sacrifice a live animal without getting locked up, right, or getting kicked in the ass. This government will lock you away for collecting rainwater. So we know where we're at, and I say that to say that you know when the Spirit is dealing with you because you're dealing with the time. You're knowing what to do. You're knowing how to carry and conduct yourself. That is not of your own doing. That is through the Heavenly Father. That shows and proves that the Spirit is dealing with.
You have the word contrite?
Yeah,
You
I
pull
have
that up.
Okay, this is contrite in the etymology, broken in spirit by a set conscience stricken and resolved to not sin again.
That's right. So having a goddamn conscience, which a lot of the things that these so-called camps do is unconscionable. The things that they say unconscionable. How the fuck could you say that John wasn't a man of the Lord? How could you say that the mark of the beast is a fucking embargo? How the hell does that make sense?
That's right.
Well, and then we went through it this week. We kept up with the classes this week. We went into Ezekiel 37, the dry bones. Right? So when you lack consciousness, somebody get Sirach 17, it's the 17 and 5, the five senses. When you lack consciousness, what does that mean? It means you're spiritually dead.
Sirach 17 and 5. They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord, and in the 6th, Sirach 17 and 1, the Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again.
Right.
He gave them few days and a short time, and power also over the things therein.
Right. Starting with Adam, we know about that. Go ahead.
He endued them with strength by themselves, and made them according to his image. Put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls.
Right, so Adam, now when you read Genesis, Adam was the first king and the first priest on the planet Earth.
All praises.
All right, and he was ruling. Right, he was ruling. We don't know how long, but we know it wasn't like day one, Adam gets the breath of life, and day two, they go off. Right, that's been a couple, maybe 100 years, 1,000, whatever it is, established in his rulership. Right, go ahead.
They received the use of the 5 operations of Yahweh, and in the 6th place he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th speech, an interpreter of the conditions thereof.
Right. So the understanding goes into what? The fear of the Lord.
That's
right. That's what he gave Adam.
3 and 18.
When you read about, when you get the breath starts with what? The scriptures tell us that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, the beginning of wisdom. So Adam was given understanding because he was given the fear of the Lord.
Right.
And then he was able to interpret the cognitions thereof. So he was able to basically understand his own thoughts and then establish them through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai.
That's right.
So our people, because they reject their source of life, which is the Heavenly Father and His Son, they are spiritually dead. They don't have a conscience. When they go about doing things, all they have yapping in their heads are demons. They don't have the Holy Spirit saying, yo, what are you doing? Hey, you know that's off.
That's right. You got a quick precept to back that up? Can you pull that up?
Okay, so Ecclesiastes 3 verse 18, and it reads, I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and they that might see them, they themselves are beasts.
Yeah, and that's what happens, you know, if you're, what makes you a beast is you run off instincts. You know, you don't have laws, you don't have morals, you pretty much don't have a conscience. Right? So that's another thing. For you to be in a contrite heart, it shows that you're not a beast because you have a conscience. You're actually reflecting on the wrongdoings. So if you're reflecting, it means you're going to be penitent, which means you're gonna not try and sin and do wrong again. And that's where our people, they fall short. You know, they lack a certain conscience. They're not thinking about getting back into the good graces.
That's right.
One scripture that comes to mind is kiss the Son lest he be angry. A lot of our people, they don't want to kiss the Son. They don't want to humble down. They want to go right along with the beast system, and that's what the beast creates you, causes you how to react to life, which is not having a conscience. Do as thou art will, doing whatever you want, and that's what you see America's doing today. That's what you see these other nations are doing today, and how is it playing out for them? These nations, they're not happy. America's not happy. The people in America are obviously not happy. Everybody's confused. So, do you really want to be like a beast, or do you want to have a conscience and serve Yahweh Shem El Shai?
I got a quick precept for brothers.
I just want to say real quick, hold on. Yeah, the reason why I pulled a sign up, that's the spirit, because that's where we're going. But don't confuse it with the animals. That's not what we're talking about. I mean, in terms of beasts, we're talking about this subtle creature is the lowest. It represents Esau and his family on the earth.
Beautiful.
In the form of men.
That's right.
It's not the animals, right? It's this beast. The scripture says he's more subtle than all the beasts of the field. And he's the lowest.
Yeah.
He's a
Daniel 4:17.
base man. All right? Go ahead, brother.
1 Timothy 4:1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Yeah, that's what this system does to you. That's what this system does, right? Because what? It's an abominable system, right? The Lord is over it, okay? The Lord has that cup in his hand. You go along with it, you buy into the philosophies of it, right? And the Lord will see to it that your conscience be seared with a hot iron.
That's right. That's why it says
namely you people on the sign.
That's why it says in Romans, the first chapter, chapter 1, verse 20 on down, it says the Lord gave them up unto vile affections because they wanted to go into that lust of that system, you know, being like a beast. So the Lord will give you up to that. You know, the Lord doesn't have to deliver you out of that if you're not willing to come and serve Him.
That's right.
So,
And you're seeing the manifestation of that now, because all of these nations are starting to stand up against America, and they all have a problem with America's alternative lifestyle, right? And when you go into that scripture, the vile affection speaks to you coming back, desiring a man, and as a woman desiring another woman.
a good point, and that's why we opened up earlier, you know, we're talking about China and these different countries, because if you look at offering these other nations, they're just offering them money, and they're telling them to pay back the debt that they owe. When you make a deal with America, they tell you to pay back the money, and then they put you in debt, and then they tell you, oh, we won't give you any money if you don't be a sodomite, if you don't let your woman be over you. So these nations, they're tired of that. So there's, you know what? I'm just going to go to China. They'll just give me the money. They're just straightforward. It's just business with them. I'll go to Russia. I'll go to Saudi Arabia. I'll get their energy. I'll use their oil. Man, fuck America. I'm going to ditch the dollar now.
That's right.
So that's why they're angry and they're mad and they're upset. You know, it's a part of those philosophies they're being forced to acknowledge and take.
Right. Which they use the lingo. The lingo that they use for that is democracy. Right. But brother has a definition for conscience.
Yeah, I got a quick definition. So conscience in etymology, one, it says faculty of knowing what is right. And it also goes into, it says,
Right, so that starts with you Israelites, because Adam was given the laws to know right and wrong, and to actually understand the operations of the earth, how things grow, herbs and whatnot. That starts with you Israelites.
He was given order.
Right.
it also says knowledge, particularly knowing within oneself, sense of right and wrong, a moral sense. Right, so I think brothers were talking about their conscience is searing.
Yeah.
So they don't even know that they have demons on them. They don't even know that. So these voices that they're hearing, they're talking in their voice, they think it's them. They think it's them. So it told me to do this, I'm going to do it. But Brother Gabar was talking about instincts. Right? So they're just moving on instincts that they feel. The demons, yeah, do that, do this, do that. If they come back to the Lord will tell them, look, there's demons, right? The way you're supposed to move is based on the scriptures. The scriptures tell you to do this in this situation. This is how you're supposed to do it. The way you're doing it is wrong. So if you're wrong, that tells you it's not you. Right?
That's why when you go into Matthew 24, it says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's how iniquity takes place, is when you just go off of your instincts. And you just do whatever feels right. That's what really you in the condition without having the law. Because now you don't have order.
And when you look at what he's explaining too, it's a good point, because that's just the average day, everyday Israelite person. When you go deeper and you look at these entertainers, right, in sports and music and in the movie industry, they know they have demons on them. They'll tell you. You know, like I remember Katy Perry was saying that she never looks at herself in the mirror. Anytime she does, she wears shades. Never, they don't like, you know, they know, actually even Beyonce, Sasha Fierce. Michael said, you know, when he sings and dance, just something comes over him and he just thing tells him to do. So when you go deeper, a lot of our people have made pacts with these demons, right? Selling their soul, you know, to Esau. And because they get certain powers, they get certain liberties in this world with those demons.
And that's their conscience.
But what they don't understand is that that's death and carnality. That's not everlasting. And they think it's everlasting, right? Because they've been lied to. This truth is everlasting.
That's right.
But really, there's a philosophy behind what those entertainers go into. There's an actual philosophy, because they call that Crowleyism. Because Crowleyism, he made up an actual doctrine out of that, and it's called you only live once. He made up his own Bible, his own code, or religion.
That's the spirit, brother. I was going to go into that, because what I was going to say is that goes back to what we know of Esau Edom and what this whole system of society perpetuates, and that's the pride in self. Thinking that you're doing all these things of your own doing and not looking back to the Heavenly Father.
Correct. Right? Correct. And that's what Esau did in the beginning. He gave up his birthright for a morsel of meat, which was like a pot of lentils, something that wasn't well cooked, right? Obviously. So he went off his own instincts because he was hungry. He didn't think about what that blessing was going to give him in the future. And it also played out when he lost his birthright. Right?
That's incredible. You said that too, because hunger, when you go into the Italian, hunger is the word fame. Or fame, which means that you're shallow inside, you're empty. And a lot of these entertainers, they're looking for attention. That's it. Yeah, they're beasts. Just like a loyal dog. You don't have to do much, you feed him a little something, but more importantly, he wants you to give me paw, rub his head, tell him to do a couple of tricks, roll over. That's what they relish in. That's what an animal relishes in.
And it shows you that Esau, right, he didn't have no faith. Remember, Esau was brought up in the customs. His father was Isaac. He knew the Lord, he was brought up in all that, but Esau had no faith. That's why he gave up his birthright for a meal that's not even prepared properly. Right? So that shows you, the scriptures tell you that haste not in the time of trouble. A lot of these people, with what we're coming into, man, Esau has already established a biological crisis. Boom. The next thing we're coming into is financial crisis, man.
Right.
And these people, when they especially the American people, man, they have never seen war. They've never really seen any hunger or tribulation of any of the sort, right? Because they live in that decadence, right? When you go into the 7 stages of an empire, we're in that decadence stage.
You over there?
But these people, when they go without food, the moment they don't have food, shelter, whatever the conveniences are, they're gonna bug the hell out. They're not gonna pray for divine leadership, right? But those of us that have been given the gift of faith, that's the first thing we're gonna do. So a lot of people are about to get real crazy out here, man. Especially you Israelites that rejected, starting at you Israelites that reject this truth.
That's right.
And those of you that are in the truth, because you're faking the funk, but the Lord has already searched you out.
That's right.
We were at Isaiah 2 and 2. We should go back there. Isaiah 2 and 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills.
Right,
And
so what does that mean? Brothers, know?
Yeah, read it again.
And Salakia, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills.
What's that talking about?
So the 144,000, which is the government of Israel, they're going to be on top, ruling the nation.
That's right. That's right, man.
Starting with King David.
Come on. That's right.
And all nations shall flow onto it.
That's right, man.
So are you seeing that happening today? All nations are flowing onto Israel today? No, so it shows you these so-called Jews, you know, the sign, even though they rule the world, going back to Genesis the 36th chapter, because they are the dukes of Esau. And if you look up the word duke, it's a sovereign prince, which they are, but they're on the left-hand side. But, you know, these nations, they're not flowing onto them, you know, and if they are, it's in a bad way, right? It's a bad way, but it's not a good way.
Yeah, it's a deceit. Right? Which is the gift, one of the gifts of Esau Edom. We know that his ultimate gift, his ultimate blessing was the sword, but it's also his deception.
Right. And that's the spirit what the brother was saying now, not in a good way. We were just chatting about how when you go into the Rothschilds and these different banking families, they've gotten all nations to flow onto them. Yeah. Technically, right? When you go into 2 corporations, major corporations really, Vanguard and BlackRock. Those 2 corporations literally run the world. But they did it through deceit, right? They didn't do it where these nations are willfully going onto them. In the kingdom, these nations are going to willfully come onto us, because the scriptures say that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice, right? And when the wicked people rule, people mourn.
That's why they have a term called the pen is mightier than the sword, and that's why we started off with the Balfour Declaration, right? They do it through contrast, through fine print, and then they trap you. And then once you go against the contract, then that's when they kill your ass. And that's what's going on over there in the land of Israel. That's why there's wars playing out. It started off through writing and then word of mouth, and then now it's playing out through action. That's a part of deception, right? And these Palestinians, they know that they're not the real people. Them and also the Khazars, they know that, right? And that's why there's so much animosity, because the people that are supposed to be in there are not in there.
That's why the Egyptian prime minister said one time that the Israelites left here dark skin and they came back white.
Yeah. That was
That's why he said that.
Yeah. Well, hey, one of the brother Kazakh just went down there, and he was telling us that he was asking some of them Amalekites about the Bible, and they straight up told him they don't even believe in it. They don't believe in the Bible, man. They don't. They believe into the Talmud. It's just what they were taught. The Bible, they don't believe in it. They tell you straight out of their mouth.
No, I was just going to read a quick quote here from going back what the brother said. It's from Marcus Garvey, who said, "The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier than them both put together." And so what comes to mind there is the changing of laws and unrighteous decrees, right?
A simple way to understand that tongue thing. Hey, if you say something negative, you can't take it back.
That's right.
You can't take it back. If you say something righteous, right? Well, what happens? Great things happen, but you're not gonna. take it back as well. Isn't that something else? Right? Because that instruction is really from Yahweh Shem Shai. So checking you out, checking your mind out.
You know what that goes into, Elder? How the sword, the tongue is mightier than the sword, right? Or that the sword cuts both ways, as I was going to last week. Your sword cuts both ways.
It's the same thing, but they like to, you people like to play with words, but you're not going to be able to trick the elect.
But it says it in I forgot what scripture it is. It says that it's not what comes
out of your mouth that defiles you, but what
out.
Yeah.
What goes in.
What goes in.
You know to break that one down?
Sorry, say it again.
What goes into your mouth? It's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. It's what comes out.
What comes out.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Right. So if you put shit in, what's gonna come out? Shit. Right? We just said the same thing. Beautiful.
And the reason when you think about that precept, what goes into your mouth, not what defiles you, is what comes out. So you can receive, you can receive wicked things, right? But in a sense,
How
are
you
you,
decipher it?
huh?
How you break it down? Who brings it out?
Which goes into a filtering system, right? It needs to exactly. The scriptures will filter it. So, an example is you do something wrong. Yeah, you do something wrong, and then you filter that action through the scriptures, and then you repent of it, or you correct it. And a lot of those wicked Sadducees and Pharisees were looking at Israel, especially the Gentiles, and looking at what they're doing and saying that they're wicked, but in their heart, and when they spoke, they repented. They believed Yahweh Shai and all his works.
That's
use that scripture to eat pork.
that's the spirit. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Right. Off of that, because they'll say, okay, well, I can eat pork. So they'll eat pork, and then they'll say they can eat pork, but the scriptures say, Paul said, are we not, because of faith, are we to void, roughly perfect, are we to make void Yahweh forbid, which means Yahweh no. So they already condemned themselves based right on that precept by doing that.
Isaac went to Israel. Yeah. So Psalms 15:16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes?
Right.
Or that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth.
See, because there's no faith in you. The script, I think Habakkuk 2 tells you the spirit that's in him is not upright.
Right.
So there's no faith, there's no true justice in these Edomites that are ruling the earth. As you can see, the turmoil, the sedition, the civil unrest among many nations.
Seeing thou hatest instruction,
That's it right there.
in case it casteth my words behind thee.
Right, they hate instruction, so that means they love rebellion. That's why they perpetuate that in all forms, through the food. I'm talking about rebellion in the sense of witchcraft, through the food, right? Through the TV, the programming, the music, right? Everything.
Verse 18, when thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit.
There it is again, that tongue too, right? Yeah, frame of deceit.
That's why they have a term they call themselves Jew-ish, right? Because when you look at the word ish, it's a suffix that pertains to. So what they're I'm Jewish-like, but that doesn't mean you're really a Jew,
Right.
right?
That doesn't mean you are the real people.
Right.
They know, you know you're not the real people.
That's what they say.
That's why you say that. Go ahead, brother.
That was it.
Isaiah 2 still?
Yep.
Or you want something else?
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, real quick.
I had it here. The Jeremiah, you want it?
Yeah, get that.
Okay, so this is Jeremiah 22.
Right, on the house of David, because the brother read Isaiah 96, and then you brought it up again, the house of David, because as you can see, we're doing that beautiful contrast, the right and the left.
That's right.
Okay? Go ahead.
This is Jeremiah 22, verse 1. Point will be made in verse 4. Thus saith the Lord power, go down to the house of King of Judah, and speak there this word. And say, hear the word of Yahweh, O King of Judah, that sitteth upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants. And
Right,
thy
so we know who's in rulership. It's the house of David. Right? And they're not Jewish. Right? They're Hebrew Israelites. Ibaria. And Amalek, you know it. You know who it is. Read it.
Okay? And thy servants and thy people that enter in by these gates, thus saith the Lord power, execute your judgment and righteousness and deliver the spoil out of the hand of the oppressor. You do no wrong.
Right? That's why we're out here in spirit and truth. The Lord sent us. Hey, you can't conjure this up. It's who you are. It's who the Lord set you up to be. We're back in our lots as men of the Lord that He has set up. Okay?
Let me ask you, brothers, a real quick question. He says, deliver the spoiled. Who's the spoiled?
The Israelites, the upper parts.
That's right. That's right.
Spoil out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if ye do this thing, indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people.
That's right. Hey, we know that this points also Yahushua coming, but it's a fulfillment. It's really the fulfillment because He rehearsed this, right? But there's an ultimate fulfillment in riding on chariots. Okay, we can go into that, but that's not the subject of the day. But I just wanted to bring that out about the house of David. Okay, that's what this thing is really about. It's not about any other system. Okay. Anyway, that's going on that.
Isaiah 2 and 3. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and He will teach us of His ways, and we will walk in His paths.
So you just saw, right, the attack that just happened last Friday that just passed. You saw how it was at a pivotal time where they were worshiping. It was during the time of the Passover and during the time of Ramadan. So it just shows you, man, all the nations, they would be clinging on to the philosophy of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai instead of doing their own thing and celebrating Ramadan. So you see that whole situation over there, it didn't play out. It's not biblical. It doesn't add up to prophecy, right? Because everybody would be coming in and worshiping the Lord, saying Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all praises, right?
Right.
That shows you.
Elder,
Excuse me, but what's going on?
Come around to the front.
Lord help you. Yeah, come all the way around and stand over there where I tell you to stand.
Well, read that again, bro.
And pan the camera when the time comes. No, right over there. Yeah, go over here so you can ask him the question. Right there. Yeah. Okay. No, over some more. Oh, no, right over here. Stand right there. Yeah, so you can. Yeah, there you. No, right there. Right there. Good. Ask him the question.
What's going on?
Just teaching the truth according to the Bible with the Israelites.
Oh, okay.
And many shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and He will teach us of His ways, and we will walk in His paths.
So my point I was going to say is that shows you that there's really only one law. That's the Bible, the law of the Bible. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, they're not going to head up to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and pray, and then you're not going to bow down in front of some guy's ass,
That's not going to happen.
you know, saying Humda Allah and shit,
Right?
okay?
Yeah, for hump the wall, right.
Well, like,
Yeah,
I
they're
haven't,
good.
I
Yeah,
haven't,
Go
I
ahead.
haven't
For
talked to you long about
For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, which goes back to Zion and speaks to the house of Israel, of course, starting with the elect.
Starting with Yahushua, going back to Revelation 5, he was the king that loosed the seven seals on the book.
Right.
You know, the law really comes out of him, and then it trickles on down onto us, right?
Hey, what is the law? Real quick. What is the law? The simplest way to understand the law. Because they already said that. They've already broken it down. What is the law? What is the law of the Bible?
well, to like treat your neighbors with love, to treat others with love.
Just a second.
Those are
Just a
aspects.
second. Hold on. It's the transcript of the Creator's character that He has passed down to these men. And starting with the economy of Israel, which is the house of Israel, which is the house of David. Right? So a simple way, I'm the question, what is the law? I'm going to say it is a transcript of the Creator's character, and it was broken down. Simply put, so So whoever is telling you something different, hey, you better stay over there where you are. Right? Stay right over there where you are.
What you said was we're byproducts of the law, but what the elder was asking was,
You know what? I don't even blame you for saying that. 'Cause that's what we're taught in this world, in this society, is to show love, love, love. But that breeds to an unbalanced way of looking at things.
Right.
And according to the Bible, love is obedience to the Heavenly Father. So a good way to see this is you know your partner loves you by what they do for you.
That's right.
Right? When they listen to you, they do this, do that, you know they love you, they truly care about you.
That's right.
Right? But in this society, that's the same thing with the Lord. The Lord has told these people to be obedient to Him, and that's how we're supposed to show our love.
That's right.
Right? And that goes, there's many aspects to that. It doesn't mean that we go and we take hand in hand with the wicked.
That's right.
But this society perpetuates love through transformers, same-sex marriages, all that. They say that's love.
Also, like other religions, like Buddhist, Muslim, all that sort of stuff.
Well, all that stuff
Yeah,
is
a
really,
lot of
all those
Christians
things are
study.
really false doctrines.
Yeah,
It's
to
false
us that's
understandings of-
idolatry. To
That's
us,
right.
that's idolatry. That's right.
Cut your brother,
But that's
sorry.
what you were going to
Right.
ultimately say.
Yeah, yeah. they're
To
false-
us, that's idolatry. To us.
I got a quick precept for the lady there. This is John 14 and 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. So just like what the brother is saying, it's about obedience, doing what your lover tells you to do. So it's about keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So faith comes with obedience, right? So
That's right.
obedience is better than sacrifice. So it's about
That's right.
obeying and doing what you're told.
And
By the way, this is the words of the leader we call Jesus, the one that you see on the floor there. Oh, Caesar Borgia, but that's what the Lord said. Keeping the commandments.
if you treat your lover wrong, and they find out, should they punish you for doing that, or should they let you off?
Yeah.
Take your time.
Well, like if they say that they love you, but they don't actually do it, like consider like my grandparents, like my grandpa was like an alcoholic who beat up his wife and like his daughter, who is my mom. So that doesn't really count as love. And like he manipulated like.
So should he be punished for it? Yes or no?
No one should be punished for.
Wait a minute. All that stuff that he did wrong, he should get off.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
Okay, there you go.
that's right. There you go. Simple answer.
Simple
That's
answer,
it.
that's all.
Yeah.
You answered it. Good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, because you know what true justice is what consequences for actions. Righteous judgment. So that's what this man doesn't do. He doesn't fulfill righteous judgment. Right? He perpetuates wickedness on the earth. Somebody get Wisdom of Solomon 13 and 1. Okay, you talked about all these other religions, Buddhism, and Hinduism, all this and that.
I got it.
But all that is false understanding of the Lord.
Wisdom of Solomon 13 and 1. Surely vain are all men by nature who are ignorant of Yahweh, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is.
Right?
Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster.
Right? So that's what these other religions do. They don't acknowledge Yahweh Hashem Shai.
right.
They acknowledge Buddha. They acknowledge what's his name? Muhammad Ali. Or Ishnu, Krishna. I don't even know the names of some of these guys. I don't really pay attention
Well,
to
there's
them.
the creator
right.
But it-
indigenous culture.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying, brother. Is that it's about who you love. To paraphrase what you're saying, you can't just go around and love everybody, right? Because ultimately, the law is doing the will of the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
So if you're doing the will of these other gods, which is to walk your children into the fire, and you're offering your child to Moloch, then are you really doing what is righteous and just before the Heavenly Father, who's the creator of all these things?
Right. And these gods, really, there's only one true living power.
That's right.
And all these other gods are made from wood and stone, right?
That's right.
So this is Psalms chapter 96 and 5, and it says, "For all the gods of the nations are idols."
That's right.
So they're not real. They're created with hands.
They're fake. They're
the
full
tree,
gaga.
Maybe the wood from the tree,
Chop it
the
down.
plastic, they chop it down, create
Part of
something.
very nice and then
And then
worship
it
it.
says, but the Lord made the heavens.
There you go.
So true
That's
God
right.
made everything that you see that has life in it,
Right.
right?
Right.
But people like to push this ideology that you can just do whatever you want and worship whatever you want.
Right.
But there's only one true power. Would you agree?
Well, like, there's like more than like power. There's like a lot of, we don't really know this.
Well,
We
well,
don't
the Lord
know
is,
the true
well,
source.
we do. The Lord has set up men on this earth, 144,000, and then you have a mixed multitude that would actually be returned back to knowing Him through His Son.
That's right.
Who the brother was telling you is the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ.
That's
His
right.
name, His true name, was given to the elect to perpetuate on the earth.
That's right.
To glorify on the earth. So there is people that actually are going to turn back to knowing who the true Creator is.
And
That's
you're
right.
You're seeing the manifestation of that now because the scriptures speak of men in these last days prophesying and teaching this truth. What are we doing? Who else on this earth calls themselves Israelites? It's only us. So isn't that the prophecy being fulfilled?
Let's get some precepts.
It's not hard to see.
I got a quick precept. This
right.
is First Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20, because you can't just go around loving everybody because our God is a jealous power, first and foremost.
That's right.
And if you're loving everybody and sleeping with everybody, that makes you a whore. Right?
That's
So you're
right.
committing fornication. You're not allowed to do that. And another thing, this society, it teaches you equality, not justice. So
That's right.
equality is not justice, right?
That's right.
Everything cannot be equal. There's no way. So anyways, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 19.
That's right.
Point will be made in verse 22. So it says, what say I then, that the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? Good questions. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils. So all those things that you're talking about, those religions, that's all satanic. It's all devils that you're worshiping. Buddha, Allah, those are just demons, Dagon, right? And not to the Most High, and I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Did you hear that? So we're not to have fellowship with these devils, these other nations,
right.
gods. We're not supposed to. So if you bring that up, we can't accept that. And that's just how it is, right? So verse 21, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's tables and of the devil's table. So you can't have one foot in and one foot out.
That's right.
That's not how this truth works. Both feet have to be in the door of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, stepping
right.
in. And you have to be committed. And it's gotten to the point, it turned into blood in or blood out through our Lord dying on the cross for that.
That's right.
So this is a blood thing that you're dealing with. This is
That's
all
right.
about blood, right? So it's not wishy-washy, and that's what the world teaches you. You can just dabble in, be floaty, be a fairy, just walk around, do whatever you want to do. And if you don't agree with it, even though you committed to it, there's no consequences or repercussions. That's what they teach you in this world. So verse 22, do we provoke
right.
the Lord to jealousy? Right? And that's a question. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? I'm asking, do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Is that a good thing?
Well, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting stuff, but like, you shouldn't really take it too far. Like, it's okay if you want something, but it's still not okay to do it too far.
Yeah, it's too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too far.
Well, we're taught that, and that's what we're actually saying, right? So if we go over where we're not supposed to be, we've gone too far. That's right. Right? Hey, get me Amos 3 and 6 real quick because she asked a great question. She said, she don't know about the truth, so we're going to show her who the true people are, right, and their history, right? Because the truth relies with those people. The truth relies with those people who are oppressed. That's right. Get the history. Get the
I
history.
agree.
Amos 3 and
hold on.
6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid?
Right?
Shall there be evil in a city?
Salakia, 3 and 2, excuse me. And then go right down to 6. But start from there.
Amos 3 and 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
So the Lord is speaking specifically to a house, right? An economy that he has set up in this earth,
That's
right? Which is the Hebrew Israelites, right? And the royal line go all the way back to Adam. Simply put, that's what's going on. And if you follow that line, hey, this is all over the internet. We don't have to stay here long and tell you about this. If you Google it right now, you'll find out that these people have been oppressed for a long time. That's how you know the truth to begin with, right? And right now we're here showing you basically what's going on. You have another one?
Before you get into that, it goes back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
Who else out here is proclaiming themselves to be Israelites? Think about that.
I didn't meet a lot of people who claim to be that.
Right. Who else is out here prophesying? I mean, you could go to Jerusalem right now. Is anybody out there prophesying in front of that wall?
To show different gods.
I just see that. I don't see no prophesying. I don't see no preaching the truth. I don't see no faces torn to Mount Seir, unless it's in wickedness. So you have to know the sign of the times.
That's right.
So what the elder was going into, there has been certain slavery that's taken place on the earth, right? Like certain people have been the ones that suffer from slavery, right? Now listen, so this is Amos chapter 2 verse 6. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes."
There you go.
And that's exactly
starting with our wicked people doing that to us, and then you have the wicked of the wicked, Esau, right? His system oppressing these people, right? And the record is plain, right?
Yeah, I got
What
some.
nationality she is?
Somebody get Amos 3 and 7. Right, they get 8. Get 2nd Ezra 13 and start at 11. Get Amos 3 and 7.
Ready?
Yeah, go read it.
Amos 3 and 7. Surely the Lord power Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
So earlier you mentioned that we don't really know who the Creator is, who the Lord is, but see, here we're reading in the Bible that the Lord is actually right now and has been for decades giving his secrets to men, certain men on this planet, and he calls them his prophets.
That's
What
right.
does that mean? They would prophesy about the destruction of this wicked kingdom, and they would usher or herald in the Lord, who everybody ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which is Yahweh Shai. Right? So that's for them to do those things and say those things, they would have to know the Lord himself. Okay, now somebody get 2nd Ezra 13 and 11. Start at 11.
13 and 11.
So there's hope, basically. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 13 and 11. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming
Jump down to
breath.
12.
12?
Yeah.
After saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and called unto him another peaceable multitude.
Right, this is Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Lord, the Son of the Lord. Go ahead.
And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound.
Right, coming from all kinds of conditions. Right, go ahead.
And other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and awakened, and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer.
Right, keep going.
Show me now ye the interpretation of this dream.
Right.
For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days,
Right.
and much more woe unto them that are not left behind.
Right, so there's a lot of death and destruction coming to the world, starting with America. And we're in these last days, right? Go ahead. So in the midst of all this perpetuating and happening, the Lord is also building up and waking up the hopeful elect and establishing their faith. Go ahead.
For they that were not left were in heaviness.
Right.
Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind.
Yeah, those that are left with heaviness, if you look into it, they're, what you call it, they're left in, it's a spirit of, it's a spirit of, the Lord have them that way, because they've rejected the benefits.
They're basically in the congregation of the dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick precept.
Slack here, hold on 1 second. Jump down to 22.
22,
23, yeah.
23. He that shall endure the peril in the time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith towards the Almighty.
Right.
That's right.
Right. So there's more to it, but that kind of signifies the point that there's people on this earth that have works and faith unto the Almighty. And because of those works and faith, starting with the faith, they're gonna find mercy in His wrath.
That's right.
He's coming with wrath to this earth.
And I pray all the men up here of that number, and you brothers as well.
Beautiful good precept for the point, because
Yeah, like
because
the
you
way
said
like modern Christianity took it, it's like at this point, like we take like a lot of it. They take like being immodest, like dyeing your hair or tattoos, or like being LGBT or like other religions as impurity. Like I don't think that that's the way you should take it. Like I think like.
yeah, I got something for you to back that up though.
Like
This is
my
Malachi chapter 4 verse 4, and it says because the brother brought up a good point about the prophets coming back and telling you
Hey, listen carefully.
what you're going to do, right, or how you should serve the Lord. And are set up to actually guide the people, like they really are, because everybody out here is not about the collective whole. Everybody is about the individual. Everybody feels like they can do whatever they want. That's not how the Lord set it up. He set up leaders. He set up shepherds.
That's right.
So this is Malachi chapter 4, verse 4, and the point will be made in verse 6. And it says, "Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments." So you're supposed to remember the law, the Mosaic law, the law that was given to us when we came out of Egypt on Mount Sinai, right? And it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day." And that's what the brother just warned you about. He just went into how there's going to be a terrible time, and that your faith and your works will get you out of that. But before all of that, the Lord has to send you a messenger.
That's right.
That is Elijah and
Hey,
other
that's the
men
mercy.
under him.
That's mercy.
Right?
That's
Carl,
mercy. Go
You
ahead.
stole a little more.
No.
I just wanted
No,
to
no,
make a quick point. That Elijah speaks to John the Baptist, and today, those of us in the faith, we know that speaks to Abba Bivens, the elder.
That's right.
And it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh, and he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children."
That's right.
So that's his job. The prophet's job is really to turn your heart to the Heavenly Father. So you
That's
can't
right.
do this on your own. So the prophets are very essential when it comes to this truth.
And that's
right.
a conversation that Elder Abba Bivens had with those that came under him, Elder Ariah, High Priest Yaquab, and such, and who taught our elders, the apostles.
That's right. And who taught them? Yahushua.
That's right.
Yahweh Hashem That's Yahushua. right.
All praises. Yeah.
Right? Hey, he mentioned a beautiful point at the end of what you read in terms of mercy, and then the scripture came out, right? Can you get that mercy scripture, the one that you just
I
read?
still got one more, right?
You got one more? Hold on, I just want to emphasize on the mercy because we're going into it. Well, you mentioned about mercy at the end, right? The reading in Ezra's,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, the mercy is the escape. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there
Right?
more
So you can't have your own ideas.
got one
That's
point
what we're
to make.
saying. We can't have our own ideas.
This
That's
is,
right.
This is Matthew chapter 25. I'm going to start at Matthew 25, verse 5. And it says, "While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept." So that represents Israel, right? They slept. At one point, they were in hibernation mode because they didn't know who they were.
That's right.
So it says, "And at midnight, there was a cry made." Now, when you go into that cry, who made the cry? It was John, John the Baptist. So somebody has to wake you up, right?
That's right.
"Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him." So after you wake up, then that's when you go and meet the bridegroom, which is Yahushua. You learn the law, statutes, commandments, you get prepared, and then when he comes back, he delivers you.
That's right. Mercy. Mercy. Mercy.
Yeah, you bring it up because she mentioned something about you got blood on your hands. Yeah, she mentioned what the churches are teaching in terms of same-sex marriage, tattoos, coloring your hair, and you said that you don't think that they should be saying that's wrong, right?
Well, exactly. If those
Okay,
script-
so hold on
if-
before you keep going. I got two precepts on that point. Okay, so read yours first, and then you read yours.
Okay, so Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
Right. So according to the Bible, which these Christians read, a man and a man together and a woman together is an abomination, which is what? A filthy act in the sight of the Lord. So it can't be done. It's not right. If you're reading out of the Bible, you have to be teaching that that's wrong.
That's right.
You can't be teaching that's right, simply put.
That's right.
So, to your statement, if the church, if anybody is teaching that that's wrong, they're correct according to the Bible. Okay, now read yours.
Because you get life from two sex lying together, you can't get a next human being, so it's against life. So this is Romans chapter 1, and I'll start at 25. And it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie?
Right. So you got starting with, we had a sign of all these bankers and world leaders. Yeah. And they were the ones that changed the truth into a lie, starting with the so-called white man, who was the biblical Edomite.
That's right.
Okay? And that goes into all their philosophies that they've been perpetuating throughout the whole earth. Okay? The truth starts with this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. These
That's
men,
right.
right? You start with these guys up here, okay? And then you twinkle down. Somebody get Jeremiah.
Alright, take it easy, man. He's bringing out something.
Get Jeremiah 23 and start at 25. So you have these people who have changed the truth into a lie, and then you have some of our people are involved with that, changing the truth into a lie. Okay?
That's right.
Read that. Yeah.
Jeremiah 23, verse 25.
Uh-huh.
I have heard what the prophet said that prophesy lies in my name,
Right.
saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed.
Mm-hmm. So, we usually use that scripture to point to
Martin Lucifer King.
Right. But you also have a lot of pastors and teachers who will say, like what you're saying, that same-sex marriage is right. You have even pastors that are growing weed farms in the backyard of a church to bring in more people into the church.
It's crazy.
Right? Yeah. And they're openly saying this. So when you prophesy, you also teach. So they're teaching them that wrongly. That means they're prophesying. They're teaching the wrong thing. Also means they're prophesying lies.
That's right.
Verse 26. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies?
Right.
Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart.
Right. So they don't actually teach what the Lord said to teach. They teach whatever is good for them in terms of money.
Agreed.
That's right.
So, exactly. And so you have a lot of these churches, that's the mentality they're in. You have more false teachers than true teachers.
That's right.
What you have stumbled across is special because all of us here are true teachers in Yahweh.
That's right.
That's the point on that.
These leaders, these prophets, they sign an agreement with the government, the 501c3, where they can't say certain things against the government. This is the reason why we're here, because we don't give a shit. We tell it as it is.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Oprah Winfrey is a lying prophet. Okay. What's his name? T.D. Jakes.
TD Snakes.
Yeah. T.D. Snakes is a lying prophet. Okay. You have all these guys, and they're all Israelites. Some of them are Israelites, some of them are Edomites.
That's what the word goes into, and what the brother just brought out, the word dream, right?
Okay.
So I have it. This is the word halam, right, in the Hebrew, and it says to dream ordinary, to dream prophetic, and it also says to dream of false prophets. So a lot of these dreams that you're getting, they're from false prophets. So it's a false message that you're getting.
That's right.
That's right.
Go ahead, finish up.
So this is Romans chapter 1, verse 24 again, and it says, 25, it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever.
Good. Beautiful. Keep reading, brother. Keep reading.
There's more.
Right, and the creature goes into a lot of things like the idol worship, but when you go deeper, that creature starts. That creature starts with what? Your flesh.
That's right.
Worship your flesh over the truth. Right? The law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Another example of that is these that come up with their own doctrines, their own wicked philosophies, and their congregations follow them instead of the word of the Heavenly Father.
Just like the LGBTQ, whoever started that, that's a creature. They're worshiping that whole movement,
That's
right?
right.
And it says, verse 26 says, for this cause God gave them up unto vile affection for their... Stop. Yeah, for this cause God gave them up unto vile affection for their woman. They changed the natural use, that which is against nature.
Right. So let me give you like a small example of that. You got a lot of women that will wear shorts, and I get it. You
I'm
know,
one of those people.
right, and I get it. You know, you want to look good and whatnot, but you know what that does? That perpetuates lust. There's men out here, and then you go into the supposed to be dressed like that. There's a lot of infections that can happen to you. You know, and that's a little.
So verse 24 it says, wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own heart. So we don't have free will, but what happens is God will give you up to that lust and let you believe the lie and that you think you're doing the right thing. But He's just giving you over to your lust.
Great.
I can learn the conscience.
Hey, can you tell me one lie that you know? One lie. Because it's a reason. Go ahead.
Well,
One lie.
like a lot of people like say like Muslims are oppressed when it comes to hijabs, but like it's kind of a double standard because like not a lot of nuns will be praised for wearing one of those hats.
Okay.
All right. All right. All right.
That is true.
Point.
All right.
Right?
But see, what you've just identified is a schism in law, right? A schism in judgment,
Yeah, schism and judgment.
right? This truth has no schisms, but a lot of our people that are wrongfully teaching this word are showing a lot of schisms. The schism is them, not the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a lie that a man can turn into a woman?
Well,
Biologically, can you actually turn from a male to a female?
well, like it's not.
Yes or no? Yay or nay? The scripture says yay
It's a
or
bit of
nay.
a so-so because like the whole idea of being trans is like those like if you're assigned male at birth, like you don't like feel comfortable as identifying as a man. Like
So let me read
No,
this
she's
again.
not.
Wait,
She's
yeah,
not.
wait,
Oh,
wait.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, she's not.
Yeah, let me read it again. That's
You know what? And you're actually not wrong because he just read it.
Okay, there you go.
That's the reason. So it says, verse 24, wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through their own lust of their own hearts.
So that's actually
To
kind of right.
to
It's kind of deep because is there more a little bit?
It just says to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
So Esau says that some people that are born male are uncomfortable in that body, like you just said, so they want to become a female. The Lord put that spirit on them to feel uncomfortable in that body, so that they can dishonor their bodies in becoming a female, vice versa.
And the scriptures tell you exactly where that comes from. That comes from those in the past who denied Yahweh Shai as the Savior.
That's the spirit. I was just gonna say, you would have to understand reincarnation.
That's right.
Because that's a judgment. What you just explained is actually a judgment from the Lord. A person, a male or a female, that wants to be the opposite sex and feels uncomfortable in their body, that's judgment from the Lord. You shouldn't feel that way.
Well, let me speak to them on a secular level and just point out the whole hypocrisy. Back in the days when they finally found these bones in so-called Africa, dug them up and said that all life came from these bones, Lucy, what sex was that? So even your authorities or the leading authorities in science tell you that there's a differentiation between a man and a woman, right? So you have to think about the hypocrisy there. But now, okay, today it's okay to chop your shit off and become whoever you want. Now it's okay to physically become Lucy, which they've always taught that that's impossible, right?
I got a quick reset. This is just going into the definition of change because we know that Yahweh should, right? He stays the same. So this is Malachi chapter 3 and 6. It says, "For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." So the Lord is the same today and he's the same yesterday. And I have another one for Yahushua. Hebrews 13 and 8. And it says here, Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8. Actually, I'll start at 7. It says, "Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of the Most High, whose faith follow considering the end of their conversation." Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is saying yesterday and today and forever. And that goes towards the law and for what the Lord stands for and his character. The Lord is not wishy-washy. He will never change. And that's what these pastors in the Christian church, they're trying to tell you, that the Lord is changing.
Right.
That's why they come to you with a false narrative. Yeah? They tell you that things change. I have a dream.
Right.
But no, the more things change, the more things stay the same. All right? That's how you got to look at it.
And the scriptures also say that Yahweh doesn't change so that Jacob is not consumed. Right?
So the subtlety that was just exposed in a nutshell for you is that they use the word trans, right? But this is the real transition, right? The more things change, transcendency, yeah. So we're exposing that, and we're also exposing the false one, because the false one is what he read previously. It's inside your mind when you refuse the righteous transcendency. Simply put.
And it doesn't stop at, we're talking about, transforming your sex. It doesn't stop, it doesn't stop there. Now, you got pedophiles, now they're coming up, getting into the mix. They're getting rights, and that's a whole different kind of level of a demon. But then it goes further into what? The transcendence, so-called, into man and machine. Because they want to be like gods.
Transhumanism.
Transhumanism, that's the term.
And you have to also think about those people that actually undergo a sex change, and then 6 months down the line, they regret that they took the hormones and they got this shit cut
And
off.
what do they go do? They go shoot up a school.
Exactly. Yeah. They go
Out
shoot
of
up
their anger, they go shoot up a school. Out of their frustration.
They go out and kill 4 people. Inside joke.
Oh, you got a question?
Well, like, I do also see the whole pedophile idea, like, very double standardy. Like, a lot of, like, priests can, like, get away from bringing children, and, like, it wasn't necessarily a priest or anything that had to do with the church, but, like, I was, like, groomed twice, and, like, because, like, this place is, like, designed for men, like, I have, like, a lot of trouble, like, opening up to, like, my parents, since they're, like, very they are kind of conservative, like they're probably gonna yell at me and, like, say that this is my fault or something. So, like, I had to spend 3 years not telling my parents about what happened.
For men. Now, you're not wrong in saying that the world is designed for men, but really the Lord ordained and designed this world for righteous men to rule over.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's that you have men ruling out of unrighteousness, right?
Like,
And sorry to cut you, but you said something about double standards. Well, double standards come from double speak. And you know what double speak comes from? It comes from somebody with a forked tongue, and that's Esau Edom.
Yeah, with, like, the whole, like, Tennessee banning drag, like, these, like, some of these drag queens don't even have, like, any interest in children. They don't even want to.
We got a precept for you, right? Because a lot of talking. Precept. This is Deuteronomy 32, verse 32. It says, "For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter." So it is kind of bitter, and what they're telling you to do, it is very bitter. Change and trans and all that. It says, "Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps." So the brothers can break it down. That's wine is a philosophy. It's poison.
Well, asp is a snake, and so we know who the ultimate snake is. That old serpent, that dragon, that devil Esau Edom, speaking to the book of Revelation.
Yeah, and, like, it's very important, like, we not just include men, but we include, like, other people, like, other women, like women of color, queer women, disabled women, and, like, it can also be, like, men of color, disabled men, and it doesn't even have to be like the binary. It can be like genderqueer, gender fluid,
But you know what?
non-binary.
You're basically listing classifications of people when there's only two classifications, man and woman, right? All these multiple classifications you're naming is what breed what you were talking about, what you just confessed that you went through. That happens because there's a bunch of confusion which leads to wickedness. You see, it starts with men thinking they can be with men, women think they can be with women, and then it perpetuates with two men and women thinking they can be with beasts, and then men being pedophiles, sleeping with young boys. That's why there's all these. You're not the first person to have this kind of situation happen, but this is because there's confusion on the earth. See, what you see here is you see men establishing righteousness, teaching righteousness, because we know that that's what needs to be brought back onto the earth.
Go ahead. Isaiah 25:7, and he will destroy, and the he is Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, will destroy in this mountain speaking to governments, the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. And all these terms of they and she and binary, these are all terms devised by the government to separate, to divide, to fool, to confuse you.
And they're basically all lies. It's part of his philosophy.
Absolutely. All these political denominations of Spanish, when we know Spanish is not a people, Spanish is a language. So you can't be a Spanish person, right? These are all things used to confuse instead of going back to the biblical names, which is what we do, the men of the Lord do, which is really reigning over this mountain, dissolving that confusion. We know Edomites, so-called white people are Edomites. We know 9 times out of 10, if you're a person of a color, you're an Israelite. Or you could be a Hamite, right? But these are the things that we need to go back to. Yeah, go ahead, baby.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, the point that we made in verse 16. And it says, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of the Most High. So there's 2 different spirits. What you're talking about is the spirit of the world. The world teaches you to be against Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to be wicked, right? So it says, but the spirit which is of the Most High, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of the Most High. And that's the stuff that's written in this book. It's freely given to us. It's just that we got to wait for it. We got to be very patient.
And the gift of faith.
Correct. And verse 13, which things also we speak not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth.
Right.
Comparing spiritual things with the spiritual. Right? So it's a spiritual union when a man and a woman get together. It creates a better outcome. So when you go against, when men tell you it's okay to sleep with another man, a man can sleep with a man or a woman can sleep with a woman, there's a negative spiritual thing that happens. There's demonic forces that come out of that. But you have to be spiritual to see that on how it's going to ruin the world, ruin whatever's around you.
It's inherently wicked because you put 2 men together. How do you receive life? No life comes from that.
Well,
Do you believe in
Still have a little more.
like demons?
Hold on, let me finish
well,
this.
like, it depends. Like,
Hold on, let me finish that precept for you before we go into a whole other topic.
yeah.
Verse 14, it says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him. So it's very foolish on how we're coming out here and speaking to these people because they're of the world. They think it's stupid on what we're saying, but it's not. Okay, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. For who hath known the mind of the Most High, that he may instruct him, but we have the mind of Hamashiach Yahushai.
Bring out your precept.
Okay.
It's a really good point.
No, you're right.
Okay, so Mark 5:8. So for he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit, says Yahushai talking. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. So the reason why I brought that out is because you see there's a lot of pronouns that say they, we, me, she, and these are just demons. If you have legion on them, they're just telling you that they have legion. Right? That's how far we are now. Now we got people with pronouns. Right? This is a new thing. This wasn't a thing before.
You dig?
Right? So I just wanted to bring that point up because I think she mentioned something about that.
Well, yeah, she did. She said binary.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And that's what that
You
is.
don't, you don't like the idea of pronouns?
No, not at all.
Oh.
No, because it's deception. It's grand deception. It's what we used to call in my day tricknology.
I got confused for a
Right?
second.
There's no truth in that.
When did it come about? Like pronouns. When was it a thing?
Well,
Was it recent?
It's a recent thing. Well, yeah, it goes back to doublespeak, as I was saying. That's a form of language that Esau uses to, again, fool you. There's no true
Hey,
knowledge in that.
if you're getting cold, you can go. But if you like to listen, you can stay too. Anyways, where are we at? I think you're at Isaiah 2.
I'm still at Isaiah 2.
I was just asking if she thinks demons are real.
I think, yeah. Isaiah 2 and 4. Yeah. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks.
Basically going into how when the real Israelites are in power, there's going to be no wars on the planet Earth. The swords are going to be turned into pruning hooks, agricultural tools, right? The spear will turn into a pruning hook, right? So what you see going on in Israel, all these wars that these other nations are fighting against each other. You got the war in Ukraine, you got Russia versus Ukraine, you got turmoil in Syria, right? Iran building nuclear weapons. You have all these different nations sharpening, making new weapons of mass destruction every day as we speak, right? Yeah, what do they have? Russia, they created the Kinzhal hypersonic missile. So if the real people of the book, the Bible, were in power, these things wouldn't be happening. Just in a nutshell. So it cuts the so-called Jews.
Yeah, we went into it last week. It's what the elders called the great equalizer. Now America can't go out and boast against these nations because these nations got a big tool. They're carrying a big stick to back it up. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people.
You had a question?
well, with the whole guns thing, it reminds me that today I learned about like that Tennessee is now again passing a law that allows like teachers to carry guns. Like at this point, you're gonna make students even more scared.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and that's what we're seeing is the leaders of this world are systematically creating violence. Why? Because they want really a destruction of America, and how right now they want to reestablish a new law, which is really through a new world order, which is through the MOTV. All this is controlled demolition. That's all it is. It's controlled demolition.
Same way how
It's called order ab chaos, order through chaos.
yeah, same way how like Rome, how it fell too, right?
Yeah.
Bread and circus and everything to confuse the masses. And at the same time, they're coin clipping. Like they're doing now. Bread and circus. You get rid of the physical dollar, but it's not backed by. They barely got anything backing it with the petrol because they're losing. Like Saudi Arabia just told me, hey, you know what? Fuck. And then Africa saying, oh, fuck you too. Like, oh, we don't want your
Federal notes.
your federal notes or your aid. Right?
Yeah,
That's exactly how we opened this the lesson. It's exactly what we spoke on.
This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Read it again, brother.
So this is Revelation 13:11. It says here, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb.
Right. Right. We know that beast represents Esau. Okay. And then you look at the two horns like a lamb, right? Those are two parties, two systems, right? You got the Republicans and the Democrats. Speaking like a lamb, right? Go ahead.
And he spake as a dragon.
Right. And there's going to be some draconian laws that are going to be pushed forth through soon. When you go into the word draconian, it basically means harsh. harsh decrees that are going to bring a lot of mischief, which goes into bad times, turmoil among the world, man.
Well, what did they just pass with can't say anything bad about the Rainbow Mafia, right?
What's the Rainbow Mafia?
Well, they
Oh, yeah,
you're not allowed to say anything bad.
say it, right?
So if they're saying that, like, suppose they commit an act, like what happened down south, where it got shot up. You had it's really supposed to say a trans terrorist, but they want to get rid of that. Be like, oh, it's okay. So wait a sec. What happened to people who have disabilities, who are actually physically disability? What happened to their rights? How come these people are up here?
Transcends their
So
rights,
they're
yeah.
setting gender wars and whatever classification wars, right? Rich versus poor, and then the Rainbow Mafia gets everybody else.
Right.
They're the ones who are instituting these things.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Brother said that's going into the draconian measures, the laws. And a dragon is very cruel and very keen in sight. So it's a chess move. So this whole thing that came about that guy or that woman shooting up that school, that Christian school, killing 6 kids, that's really all to take your rights away. Now it's going to come with stricter gun control laws. So it takes the guns out of the people's hands so they can't fight against the government when the government comes against them. Right? So it's a chess move. It's very cruel. It's very strategic.
When you also go into that word dragon, it goes back to the Greco-Roman, which means a seeing eye, a very keen seeing eye. You know that seeing eye is the eye of providence that's represented on the American dollar bill on the back of it.
But it's all an inside job.
Right, it speaks to an enterprise. And that's Job 5 and 12.
And
to be
it's
honest.
not Illuminati. It's Killer Illuminati.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have
Illuminati, kill Illuminati.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Verse 12.
Do you have like social media?
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube,
Okay.
GMS Toronto.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Revelation 13:12, and he exercised all power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast.
Right. So that's how we know America is really a Romanized system. Right? It's everything that you see in the ancient Roman Empire. It's the philosophies, even right down to the military.
Even
Right.
if you look at the buildings, everything
The
is
buildings,
the
The
same.
Right.
infrastructure, the sports,
Infrastructure,
the
yeah.
Coliseum.
All of it is brought back again. Right? So that's what this man that's what this man has here. They worship all these other kingdoms and their philosophies and their ways and study it and then bring it back to life. That's why we know that reincarnation is a thing.
Exactly.
That's another reason. There's more than one. That's another reason.
Yeah, there's plenty.
The spirit reincarnate, and then the buildings reincarnate.
Yeah, because the spirits that are created themselves.
I had another thing to add because the other day I was watching that show Bel Air.
Oh, okay. The new
Right?
one?
Yeah, and I checked into the word about Bel Air and it says beautiful air, but I don't think so because when you go in the scriptures, what does it say? Bel and the dragon, right?
Well,
Yeah.
well, Bel also goes
Prince of
into
the air.
Baal.
That's right.
Baal, right?
Who's
And
the
air.
prince of the air?
That's right.
Esau Edom.
Worship of Baal.
Baal. Yeah.
Baal. The prince
Bel Air.
of power of the air.
Air.
Scripture says, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
one. It's really too far there.
These things come back. It's all recycled.
Yeah.
Let him finish his and then you can bring yours up. Is it pointers?
Yeah. It says, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Right. Right.
That's those missiles.
That's right. Atomic.
Starting with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Number 7 bombings that took place.
There's I think Russia, what's they test? I think about under 500 bombs they've like blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I was like watching a whole series of stuff throughout the week. They were just bombing up the fucking place that you don't know of. And some of the places they tested, just like how America tested in the Bikini Islands, exposing the Japhetic people that
Yeah.
were living
Them
there.
people are ruined today, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It took them how many years to pay them? Like 1991. So they
Yeah,
were bombing
since
them
then.
in the 60s,
Yeah, in the 60s, yeah.
50s, 60s, all the way up.
Yeah.
Never paid them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're still
Oh,
promising.
yeah.
Still promising to pay him. That scripture also goes with, there's a scripture that speaks about the 350 years going past, and that speaks to Elder Apple Bivens again coming on the scene at about the same time when NASA said there'd be a giant step for mankind, and when they say is the actual date that the internet came into play. So again, just going back to what the elder was talking about earlier with that sword and that defining spirit of balance between left and right, good and evil, you're seeing the dichotomy, the duality of the Lord playing out there when you see things like this coming to pass.
That's right.
Right, which goes back to the two horns as well.
Go up to 16.
I'm just going to reread Revelation 13 and 13. It says, "And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." And the pivotal point that we saw that was in World War II, the bombing of Japan. That shook the whole world into fearing the United States of America. Right? They were a force to be reckoned with. And that caused these other nations to develop other technologies too. Right? Verse 14, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles." Right. And they deceived them, tricked them into believing into these philosophies, a lie, a false hope, in their way of doing things. That's why you have something called Americanization. All these,
Americana.
Yeah, Americana. All these different countries, they want to live the lifestyle as an American, very luxurious, proud, and boastful.
Yeah, but the word means bitter.
That's right.
That's what America means, bitter.
That's right.
But you dummies, that's why the scripture says you are the way you are. Right? You think all that stuff is good, but it's all bitter.
Mentioning about the fire coming down from heaven. It's not a coincidence that this year that they're bringing out that Oppenheimer movie.
Okay.
Directed by Christopher Nolan. Right?
Oppenheimer and Jack Parsons with the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb selected. Okay. Wow. Wow.
Come out this year.
For those of you who don't know, Oppenheimer and Jack Parsons, what they actually did with that first atomic bomb was place an aborted fetus in there when they let it off.
Satanic sacrifice.
Yeah, satanic sacrifice. Yeah, a ritualistic sacrifice.
They took it a step further. Well, it's nothing new, but now they're eating the fetus and the placenta.
Oh, yeah.
But that's you beast, man.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that for a minute.
Okay, so it says, verse 14, "Means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed."
Hey, beautiful, real quick. So we went into it, broke it down. Just wanted to emphasize again, in order to that image of the beast, that wine. That wine in that song is very powerful. You see, it's being stressed. And leading up to what you mentioned earlier on, that's why we're reading it, TB. But yeah, that wine is powerful.
The New World Order.
The philosophy. Yeah,
but in the context here in verse 15, it just really goes into how if you don't fall in line with what they're proposing and bringing forth this NWO, they're going to get rid of you.
That's right.
So you've seen that in the past of all these different countries and leaders who went against the beast system, they got killed. Gaddafi, right? All these different leaders. Some of these Middle Eastern countries that didn't want to. Sorry?
Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, Saddam Hussein, he got hung or killed, whatever. So yeah, that's what goes into. And they're very ruthless. If you don't prescribe to what they want, kill you. They'll kill you and your family line. Look at the czars of Russia, what they did to them. Fucking eradicated that whole line.
Yeah, that was a Bolshevik period, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right here to push their new world order, they're destroying like powerful people they're destroying. So imagine what's going to happen when it comes to America, when it comes to Canada, when it goes to other places in the world. We're like, I mean, like these people are like
Beyond hands.
Yeah, like small, nothing. You know.
That is the American philosophy: is to build you up, to break you down, right?
You see, these small people over here in Canada, they're mad at Trudeau for allowing Klaus Schwab and his minions to come in here and do whatever they want in his cabinet. But he's freaking afraid. You know, he's afraid of what they're going to do to him because he has to worry about himself and his family.
Well, they're all a part of that that school of economists that came out of the WEF, right? Him and Jagpreet Singh, both of them were both. I forget the name of the school, but yeah, the young economics or young economists is what they were called. They both came out of Klaus Schwab's school. So they are following the agenda to the T, but they are goddamn afraid because they know the power of what these devils can really do to them.
That's right. How much time is on that?
more time, man. This is sweet. Let's continue.
It's so sweet.
17 till
It's running, man.
Huh?
17 till 7:30.
Okay, so verse 16,
You
like
just,
you,
you just read the New Reich.
Yeah.
If you go into that word, the New Reich, right?
Oh.
It's just the old Nazi, New Reich.
The 13th Reich.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the new Reich.
yeah, the New Reich. But
Yeah.
13th Reich, good.
verse 16, and he calleth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Going into the chip, mark the beast.
Rahman.
That's right. So everybody's going to have to subscribe and take this chip. It doesn't matter what stature or what pedigree you come from. You're going to have to take it.
It says, it says free or bond. So even if your ass is locked up, you still gotta go take that shit.
So who? So if it says free and bond, rich and poor, when you say free and bond, so who isn't going to take it?
The elect.
No, the elect, but who else?
Isn't going to take it?
The elites. The elites are not going to put that in them.
They're the
That's
ones
for cattle.
That's it. That's for
That's why
cattle.
when you go into in Rome, who were they branding? Who weren't
Except
branding
truth is truth, yeah, absolutely.
the elite of
Crazy thing about that.
the emperors and stuff like that, of that class, right? The senators, all that. They weren't taking no brands.
Exactly.
They
They're
were
just
doing,
there to serve their purpose.
they were doing their pedophile acts and all of that. But the slaves were the ones who were getting branded.
It says by the year 2030, every human being is going to be chipped.
Yeah,
Every Neuralink or the micros down here, MOTB, right? I sent you a link to a movie.
yeah,
on Netflix.
yeah.
Well, it goes back to,
Like,
to
that's
the all.
that's what they call predictive
Having
programming.
the all, right?
That's called predictive. And you used to thinking that that's okay. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
that is exactly what they want to do,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
See through your eyes, everything you're seeing, everything you're doing.
Yeah. Be like the Most High
They want to be like the Most High.
Wow, he believes his own
That's why they
lie.
want the brain chip, because really the chip itself, all it is can only take data of what's your health, your temperature, stuff like that. They
It goes
want
back to
really the brain chip.
a good example of that is that movie, The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
Back in the day with Denzel, I believe. I think they did the movie twice, but
Yeah,
the latter version was Denzel Washington in it,
Yeah.
where they programmed the president to do their bidding with that chip.
Yeah, he believes his lie. Even right? Going back to the image that he push on you people out there, you dead masses. Yeah, but he doesn't. The point is he doesn't believe his lie,
I'm right, when I'm
but he
right, I'm
believes
right,
it.
right? That's how he thinks.
All praise.
Were there?
Yeah, I do. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Mother of harlots, the abominations of the earth. Mother of harlots is 6. The abominations of the earth is 6.
Mystery
Right?
Babylon.
And Mystery Babylon.
Mother of
Right?
harlots.
Mother of harlots. 6, 6, 6.
Yeah, even the so-called leading authorities today will tell you that the number of a man is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right?
So I watched it live 3 weeks ago when you had mentioned that, and I had sent you a message, but I deleted it because I wanted to talk about it at the camp.
Yeah.
So now that you mentioned it, can you explain how the 666 becomes Mystery Babylon and the Mother of Harlots?
So that goes through understanding the Hebrew and the Greek. So the characters, when you go into Revelation 17,
Yeah, the brother's pulling it up now.
oh, you're pulling up right now? Yeah. Chi, Chi, Stigma, which is those letters, those alphabets are 6, 6, and 6. Stigmata.
Right. And today it speaks to the UPC, the Universal Code that they
my
use
God.
for buying and selling.
This is Revelation chapter 17 and 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great.
Stop. So you have to add those numbers up. Read.
Right? Mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
You add those numbers, you add those letters up again from understanding the Greek that he was just saying, and it'll give you another 6. Right?
That's why Esau is deep in his numerology, right? They work on numbers.
Yeah.
They do sacrifices on certain, like on the moons, 7 day, or 14 for the full moon and new moons. they do their practices and stuff.
Yeah, and he also has a thing where he murders by numbers as well.
Yeah.
Right? You know his numbers are 33, 13, 666. Anything that multiplies or divides or whatever deals with 3. That's another one of his numbers. Ultimately, is 3.
Right? Was that kind of clear for you? I don't know if you wanted more, because when you add up the precept, those words right there, right? You got to do it from the Greek or from the Hebrew. Those letters represent a number, and it adds up to 666. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later.
Yeah, for edification, I have it here. I have the breakdown.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you brought it.
Let's just get
Yeah,
the
that's
breakdown.
beautiful.
Okay, so this is it right here. It's the breakdown of it. So,
You gotta know the
Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots,
Beautiful that you brought that.
right?
I know I got to print it myself.
And the total number for it is the number of a man,
Yeah, it's
right?
PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you
Yeah. By the way, this was broken down by High Priest Arya. Everybody hates, so just saying. Gotta put that out there. All right.
take a picture of it.
Yeah, I can send it to you. I'll scan it. I'll send it. You want a picture?
So did you get it? You answered?
I got it.
Okay.
I waited for 3 weeks.
Okay, specifically again, just tell me what is this you exactly you wanted to know?
No, I got it now. Because
No,
I wanted to know
asked,
how
brother. I'm
Mystery
asking
Babylon is 6 and
Right.
how the mother of harlot is a 6. That's what I wanted to know.
Correct.
So I had messaged, but I erased it from
It's
you
water,
and him.
it's water.
Then I
Yeah.
was waiting till I come today. Till it comes up. Then today came up. So I just,
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know in my mind.
But this is
exactly.
good.
Okay, the water.
Yeah. So this is. Yeah, this is me, exactly. I know I do because I see it.
Hey, where we at?
I've never heard of
He
this.
was on Revelation 13 and 6.
Yeah, he's
No, 13 and 13.
Yeah, that's it. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm saying he finished from there.
Yeah. I think you finished that precept. Go back to Isaiah 2. You got Isaiah 2, right?
Yeah. Isaiah 2 and 5 is where we're at. O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of Yahweh. Therefore thou hast forsaken thy people, the house of Jacob, because they be replenished from the east, and are soothsayers like the Philistines, and they please themselves in the children of strangers. You get it?
Yeah, that's what Israel, they're going off into the philosophies of the Philistines, worshiping, what is it, the god of Dagon, I believe that's what they worship.
Yeah. And Moloch as well.
And Molech and all those other demonic gods. So now they're destroyed because of that. Right?
Their land also is full of silver and gold. Neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land is also full of horses. Neither is there any end of their chariots.
Yeah, so what the scriptures say, you can't serve Yahweh and Mammon. So what you're seeing is that these prophets, they teach lies for money. It's all about money, right? It's money. Which leads really to these different guys that we've been naming throughout the ministry, Baal, Molech, Bel, all these gods are tied to the dollar.
Dagon, Dionysus.
Right.
Right. Roman Catholicism.
Right. Yeah. And furthermore, you have all kinds of idol worshiping or symbols on that dollar. Right. Our society is ruled by symbols. The scriptures are symbolistic. Have a lot of symbolism in it. There's a left and right to it.
Yeah, the alpha buck.
Right.
Alpha buck.
Right.
I think I'm missing a consonant. Check it out. The whole thing. Ga, Gap. It's supposed to be a camel, but it's Gamal.
Gamal, yeah. Yes. So that's why the scriptures say, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And so you have a nation of people who at one point, when they were, even when you go into Egypt, right, that great Exodus, we didn't have money, well, we had gold, but what took us out of that? Divine intervention. That's what took us out of that's what took us out of Egypt. So you have now, we're in a state where Israel, the majority of Israel, are relying on their money to take them out of the horrors that are coming upon the earth. That's why when these banks are closing or doing bail-ins, which means they go into your account and take money, what is Israel's logic is to what? Run to the bank and take cash out. Instead of, yo, I should turn to the Lord. I've been hearing men prophesy about this. So when this man establishes a situation where you have none of your conveniences unless you turn to his MOTB, you're going to start to find out who the real men of the Lord are. Because the men of the Lord are going to ask for divine instruction.
That's
what
right.
to do. Right? Through faith. Where you have
That's
all
right.
the rest of these false teachers and all their congregations and their followers are going to give into this man's MOTB.
That's right.
You know, and then find themselves destroyed by Yahweh Shem.
They gave into the
That's
precursor, the C-19. They gave into the C-19.
Because just because you give in to what Esau has doesn't make it your life's going to be any better.
Sweeter, yeah,
You're going to
better.
be more of a super. You're going to be a super slave.
I just have a quick precept to back that up because a lot of you Israelites, you had it good. You had a lot of money, you had a lot of riches, but you forgot where you came from. You forgot who gave you those riches.
That's right.
So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 9. The point will be made in verse 10. It says, "Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways." Right? So abusing the ways is going away from the law, statutes, commandments, doing your own thing, and just taking it for granted. That's what they do. And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Because they hate the Lord
That's
ultimately.
right.
That's the reason why they went away from it. They didn't like it. So it says, verse 10, "For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me." Right? So they received good benefits. They got the money, they got the cars, they got the clothes, but they're not giving the honor unto Yahweh Shem Shai. Because of that, you're going to err and you're going to fall. That's just a point on that.
Isaiah 2 and 8. Their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made.
Yeah, that's a really, when you think about that, that's a really destitute statement to be the creator and form and then worship the thing that you created. It's a real, beast-like state.
That's
You
right.
know, even beasts don't really move like that. You know, they understand the hierarchy and they understand the animals below them.
That's right.
You never see a lion bound down to his cub. You know?
That's right.
Go ahead.
And a mean man boweth down, and a great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not.
Yeah, and that's the spirit that David spoke about in Psalms. I hate them that hate thee. You
That's
know?
right.
What the Lord is doing with the men of the Lord, he's establishing an ancient mindset, man. Right, an ancient mindset, because ancient men are being awoke.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, we hate everything and anything that's against the Yahweh Shem.
That's right.
That's right. We said it. We hate that. It just means dislike. And the Lord hates evil.
That's
He's
right.
put a spirit on us to hate that stuff.
That's right.
Isaiah 2 and 10. Enter into the rock, and hide thee in the dust for fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty. You see them doing that today, entering into the rock. They're hiding in their bunkers, and hiding in the dust is hiding in their confusion. The confusion that they've set on the world, which again goes back to order ab chaos. Through their destruction, they hope to build a paradise, which is just not so.
That's right.
It's just not so. It's not going to come to fruition at all.
That's right.
Isaiah 2 and 11. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day.
That's why the scripture says, how Babylon is more stout than her fellows. Just briefly paraphrasing that. That stout actually goes into that proud look that they have, on how they look down on the other nations. And that trickles down onto the other people, because the people here, they're like, I'm proud to be an American. Proud of what? You're proud of slavery? Proud of stealing Native American land?
That's right.
Proud of being a degenerate? Proud of being a tranny?
That's right.
That's what you're proud of? So, that pride is going to be washed away.
That's right.
For the day of Yahweh of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up.
And why is that? Because he has the biggest army of all. He has the missiles. That's his army. He's got the chariots. Right? He's got the angels.
That's right.
He has the biggest army.
That's
You're going
right.
to try and fight him. He's going to take you all down. and then that's when your ego is going to be deflated.
But he has the control of all these missiles too.
Of course. Well, it says that even when after when they get destroyed, it says they're not going to repent of their sins. It says that in Revelation 9.
That's right.
So he's still going to be proud. Right? The Rothschilds.
That's heavy.
Till Psalms 147 and 19.
When they're going head first right into slavery.
Yeah.
That's right.
King James.
Can you read it? Psalms
147,
Yeah.
19.
That's when he's going to really.
Start at 17.
Yeah. That's it.
It says, Psalms 147 and 17, he casteth forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow, and the waters flow. His words unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He has not done so to any other nation.
137.
137.
137.
I always do that. 137.
But that 17 was the right place to go to because it really speaks to the destruction of Babylon.
137 doesn't have a 17.
That's right.
No, it's before 17. It's
What verse?
You got it right.
Bind your king. Bind your king.
Yeah, that's 149.
Yeah,
149.
Okay, so this is Psalms 149 and 8. It says to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron.
That's right.
To execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord.
Wow.
That's right.
And
It's
that's
always fresh. Go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say
It's always fresh.
that's why their pride is gonna be shut down because as soon as they see the elect tear them out of their bunkers, you know what they know what that means. They know that means slavery. That's why they're gonna be their pride's gonna be right to the ground, man.
Pulling the turtle out of his shell.
it's going to be looking like the scene in X-Men Future Past when Magneto opened that bunker.
That's a good illustration. Yeah.
And you know, Magneto and Professor X, they go back to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Stan Lee wrote them around. Yeah, created those characters around those two so-called leaders.
That's right.
Not for real though.
Radical ones are pacifists.
Symbolism, eh?
Symbolism. 2 and 9. And a mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. The rock and hide thee in the dust for the fear of Yahweh and the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down. And Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of Yahweh of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up. And he shall be brought low, and upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted Bashan, and upon all the high mountains and upon all the hills that are lifted up. Basically speaking to all the governments and all the kings and rulerships of the world. And upon every high tower.
That's why it says that all this is going to befall them that are stout in heart or lost. That's why right now it's time to learn the fear of the Lord. That's a learning process, by the way. Right? It's something that you feel, but there's stages to it. Everybody has their own level in that fear of the Lord, which comes to the understanding. Because a lot of majority of people on this planet don't fear the Lord, so that's why all these things, the calamities, are going to befall them. You know, not mercy.
Because gold and silver is not going to save you.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
They teach you to be a daredevil in this society, to not consequences or repercussions, you know. Just jump off a building, you'll survive it. And, you know, that's how Esau tells you how to think. It's okay to be a daredevil.
Right. I dare you to take the MOTV.
Well, certain people, what are they doing? They're asking AI, right? They're asking AI.
Yeah.
And the guy, he killed himself. Put it in the chat. He asked AI something about, I think, I don't know if it was about the stock exchange.
Right,
or
something like that.
About when the end's going to come or something. The guy took his life. Because
The AI told me.
Yeah, the brother just said it here. Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Wow. How much time? I'm gonna go to Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Come down and sit in the dust. That speaks to America again, hiding in their confusion, thinking that their confusion is going to find a way out.
Also going to be destroyed. America is going to be just a desert. Right?
That's right.
The American civilians have never seen war, and that's why they're called delicate. Right?
Virgin.
Virgin, right? They've never seen war.
Virgin, yeah, because they've never actually seen foreign conflict on their shores. Right? Right. There is no throne. Speaking to that, their kingdom, their rulership is done away with. O daughter of Chaldeans. Salaki, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, they have no idea of what it's like to be a refugee, to go without food. You know, they're tender and delicate. You know, back in the ancient world, how did you deal with a woman, especially if she was of high status? Her feet would never touch the ground. She's always pampered, taken care of. That's these people over here. That's their mindset.
I don't walk, I get carried.
That's
right.
Mindset. In this sinful kingdom.
O daughter of the Chaldeans, we know goes back to that spirit of witchcraft, which you touch on a lot, and that rebellion that Esau, Edom is famous for. And the brothers both spoke on it well by saying, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate, which really speaks to the present state of America and Babylon that we know will be ultimately destroyed. Yeah, pretty much is.
It's not in that state anymore. Look at what Philly looks like, what LA looks like, fucking Skid Row.
Yeah.
Fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
You said come down and sit in the dust.
Yeah.
So the dust means confusion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but when you go deeper, it really goes into them being destroyed, becoming a desert. Because America literally is going to be a desert.
Gradualism.
How the elders break it down is that America in this present day is confused about its fate, about what is going to become of it, right? But the scriptures speak to it simple and plain. It lays it out here in Isaiah 47:1 that it will be ultimately destroyed, leveled like a Walmart parking lot, right?
Yep. Hey, just get that scripture, brother, because we started out about the contrition, the state of the elect. Bring it out, just Azariah, from the book of Azariah.
Okay, prayer of Azariah, chapter 1, verse 16. Nevertheless, in a contrite heart and a humble spirit, let us be accepted.
Right? Simply put, right? Now, it's good if you brothers go read the prayers, younger brothers, as well, and get yourself acclimated with it, because that's going to be the theme. Well, it's always the theme of the elect. We're begging the Lord to not remove his Rakah Kodash from us. Right? Whether it be 100% or 1% that you might have, that you believe that you might have. Just putting it out there that way.
I just want one more clarification. I was also listening to a live, and Ella mentioned that Adam had the crocodiles.
Adam what?
Adam had the
the last lesson that we did about Adam?
Yeah, Adam
was
had
Tuesday?
What?
Yeah, the last live he did.
Oh, the last live?
Adam had the crocodiles, which is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Hawashai had left, and when he left, he said, I will send you the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit. So I was thinking that that's the first time the Holy Spirit actually was here. But
yeah, you can say that. You can say that.
So what did Adam have?
He had the same thing. That's season 1. That's why he became a living soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had the same
He was already on the earth living just like how we are today, but then like we were like in the world. But then the knowledge came to us and then clothed us. Right?
So from
that's right.
And the prophets down at it as well.
Yeah.
So that's why he said you could say that.
But to understand it too, because it's an evolution of that, right? What Adam had to what the elect are going to have, the elect have even more now.
Because of Yahushua.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of Yahushua.
That's scripture for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
The first and the last Adam.
They understand evil, so they become proper judges. All right, Khan, so we're going to close this ministry by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh. And double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who grew up and was taught this word with truth and sincerity. And
peace and mercy to the whole full elect out there that are teaching this word in truth and sincerity as well. As well as you little man and sisters that believe, peace and mercy to you. We're going to say above the ball.
Above the ball.
And Lord willing, to next week, say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.